hold on for a second. Just getting this last part here resolved. It always gets messed up when you change here. All right. Quick mic check. Is this good volume for people here? You guys can hear me? I'll just kind of keep going and hopefully... All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is James. I am the community manager for Dragori Games. I actually, just quick thing about myself here, I actually started off as just a backer of the first campaign, like many others here. And anyway, kind of grew from that, playing Tabletop Simulator, and creating events, tournaments, live stream events with other creators, and then eventually before the RPG about 2 years ago, became the official community manager. Anyway, so that's a quick thing about myself, but I know most of you guys here have plenty of questions about Tanares Adventures Ultimate, and I'll do my best to answer what I can. Obviously, I'm not going to have every answer. Part of that is there are things that we're still just kind of waiting to either get an answer on or get a number for, so not everything I can answer, but I'm going to do my best to answer what I can. All right, so I did ask before the stream if people did have questions to kind of start sending those in and to let me know, and I'll just kind of start from the beginning. So there was one question specifically at the beginning here by Granus Pellet, who was asking about that he bought a kit without miniatures in the previous Kickstarter. Is there an option to get the kit with cheaper miniatures or be able to upgrade your pledge? I'm not exactly sure what kit he's referring to, because as far as I know, there really isn't anything unless you got specifically just RPG items. So if you could clarify that for me, I did respond to you earlier, then I can try to answer that question. All right, next one is Thorsten Schieler. Translation pack questions. Quality of the translations. Is there any chance to see examples? Yes. If you go to our Discord, and you go to, and maybe let me see if I can show it real quick here. I'll try to get this up. Always fun stuff with see, does this show? There we go. All right, 1 second. And it's extremely small. Oh my gosh. Let's see. And I'm not sure exactly why it's showing small right now. I may have to come back and fix this later. But to quickly just explain, if you do go to our community Discord, I always have it linked in all of my videos. And in fact, if I don't have it here right now, I can get it added soon after. Otherwise, we have plenty of other members of our community that are in here, and they may be able to just throw in the link to the Discord. But anyway, go to the new player guides and videos channel. If you go there, that's basically the super ultimate channel of everything that we've released to backers previously. So it could be things like rulebook changes, errata stuff, campaign log items, save sheet, and specifically translations. So we have, it's not everything, it's just the rule books of different languages. So we have, I believe we do have German on there, which I think was the question that was being asked. So there is the German Arena the Contest rulebook. So just for clarification for people, we have put out the translation content for Arena the Contest. the Dragon Collection and the Legendary Box items previously, and we've been still in the process of getting all the Tanares Adventures content translated, including some of those little small additions like Medusa and stuff. So we are working on that, so we don't have all of it done yet. The next thing is the price of the translation pack. I have been asking about this a couple times. I haven't gotten a response yet on it, but I will say that our previous offering was about $30 for the translation pack. Now remember, it's pretty much going to come with everything that you need to play, from books and cards, and yeah, basically any of the components that you're going to need to play, obviously, you know, that would need to be translated will be translated. So it's quite a bit. So you'll be able to get all of that. And $30 with the previous price, it is likely that we'll have to increase the cost of that just because everything has gone up in price. But I wouldn't expect it to be anything like double or anything crazy like that. It'll probably be a slight increase. Okay, next is, and then the delays in terms of timing. I don't have that information. I did also ask about that as well. I think, you know, we'd like to try to provide it with the content that we have, you know, that's going to be going out with everything else for this campaign. But it's possible that the translations could be a little bit after, but I need to get actual confirmation on that timing. All right, the next one is, in the campaigns included in the Ultimate Tanares Pledge, are there situations where players have to use a substitute miniature standee to represent, or does the stretch goals solve this? So yes and no. So if you have miniatures, that's why we have many miniature packs like the Legendary Box. It has a ton of additional miniatures. So if you don't own that specific miniature, then you would need to proxy it with something else. I think the most notorious example that I know of is like the orcs. You would either use like the standard Sentinel characters or basically any other one that you want to use. And you just fill that in for that character, because the orcs come in the Legendary Box specifically. Now for the standee, this was a recent question that I know Chris from, I'm forgetting the name of his channel, Board something, where he was talking about the reasons not to back, and he was confused about the standee options. The reason there is more standees is because you have a standee for like orcs, for example, versus, you know, in the miniature pledge, you would have to proxy that one. So anyway, to answer that and a little bit more, that's it. All right, good to see Manny. Welcome back. Okay, P4N4, looks like you clarified this later. Will the $19 standee pack include every character in the game from all expansions? So no. So what the standee upgrade kit thing is basically doing is, the standee pledge as it is doesn't include the final book and cards that go along with the In the Realms of the Madness epilogue campaign. That's 6 quests that follow the events of Tanares Adventures campaign. Then for this, and that was also offered in our previous campaign, so if you are a backer from previous, you already have that. If you are a new backer, specifically what's offered now is the Wasteland Expedition. That's brand new content, and I guess with a star on that. So it's new in the way that it's never been offered like this before, because it is the Tanares Adventures rule set in the Arena of the Contest campaign. So the campaign had a different rule set. In Arena of the Contest, there was a cooperative mode in there as well, which was a fun game and people did enjoy it, but it is much more simplistic. And the reason why we ended up changing the rule set and going to a different version was, if you wanted a massive campaign like Tanares Adventures is providing, it's going to be boring, essentially, probably playing that for, 30 quests. So anyway, the point is, you're getting all of the content that basically is equivalent to the ultimate pledge. So the $189 pledge that has the miniatures. The only exception, obviously, is standees versus miniatures. And there isn't PvP, because that's even a more... there's like quite a stack of hero pads that go along with that, as well as another whole book that's involved for specifically the PvP rules, because the rules are different between PvP and Tanares Adventures. Okay, so I'm just going down the list. I hopefully helping to answer where I can. If not, I'll try to get to it as we go along here. All right, next one. Will we get the new revised how to play videos taking into account the revised rule books? So just to clarify, the rule books, how they're being revised is mostly clarity or little mistakes that were in there. But the learn to play videos, especially like, for example, what Dice Tower did recently, is like the accurate representation of the game. So I wouldn't say that the rules are really even changing hardly at all, if any. Just it's fixing little things, like there's an example in the rule book that actually has you miscount the number of squares. There's some clarity issues in some areas. There's some wording that's not, that people liked. So we're fixing that. But I won't say, it's not like we're changing the rules of the game by making this revision. Okay. Does any of the new content or revised streamline ATC? I believe, yeah, I just kind of answered that one. Okay. Next up is... and it keeps jumping around on me as more questions come in. Hey, good to see you, Logan. Long time no see. I hope you've gotten a chance to check out at least the Tanares RPG Player's Guide, as I know you're a huge RPG guy and board gamer yourself. If you guys haven't checked out Logan Chop reviews, highly suggest it. Great guy, great content. Go check him out. Anyway, yeah, man, let me know what your thoughts are on the RPG and the game when you get a chance. All right. Yes, yeah, I've been around for quite some time now. Any chance to get the final pass the rules from native English speakers, producers before printing? Yeah, we might be able to get out the final rule book. The problem is we got a tight timeline. We want to get this February 2024, which means printing needs to start very quickly. Like we're talking about in August, printing needs to get started. So it's going to be a tight timeline between the end of the campaign, opening the pledge manager, people finishing the pledge manager, closing it, and then starting printing. So we'll do what we can, but I don't know how much, there's not going to be tons of time for people to go and review it. All right, back in the super box, I was curious why the updated world map is not included in the super box or stretch goal. $48 plus VAT plus shipping alone is easily $670 plus USD, so it feels off. So it's because it is an add-on that people are paying for, specifically like even in the other pledges. So in this one, yeah, I mean, you still get like the poster map, of course, in the game, but it's obviously different than the board, which comes something separately. I believe the all-in has it already included. It's just the super box doesn't, because that includes the base game and basically I think almost all the expansion content except for all the big miniatures. So I'd say it's probably the closest like gameplay all-in type one that we have right now. Take that kind of with a little bit of grain of salt, because I'm kind of just going, I haven't reviewed it again recently to make sure nothing's missing, but if you do have questions specifically about that, let me know. All right. What content will not fit in the super box? Like if it's the new Penumbral pack, what other boxes comprise that? So the Penumbral pack is a slightly revised box, but your question seems to be about the super box itself. So the super box is intended to fit most of the giant expansion content without the super large miniatures like you see right here. I have the gold dragon. He would not fit in there because that would take up a significant portion of one of the boxes. And the design of the box is intended to do two things. One is there's an essential box where it's giving you the minimal amount of content that you need to take that places if you want. You want to go to a gaming group, go to a local retail store, whatever, wherever you want to take it. It'd be easier to just take those components, and then if you want to bring a specific box, the idea is you bring those apart from that. Of course, you can bring the other box for all the other options and heroes and everything if you want, but that's kind of the intent of it. All right. What else? What content? Blah, blah, blah. What's up with the scale of the Silver Dragon mini? Did someone forget to bring the banana? No, I got the banana right here. So I'm not exactly even sure what to say about the scale of the dragon. I know that some people are not, they don't like the idea that the building, for example, may not be representative of the size of the heroes. I think I did tell Alex about this and Clayton about trying to make it so that way at least the hero is at least one story tall or something. But at the same time, we're limited on things like the size of the boxes. You guys want much bigger miniatures. That means it's going to be more expensive to send, right? Because the packaging has to be bigger, which means it takes more spaces in boxes, which means we can ship less in a smaller amount. Then it costs more to send more pallets, right? So it just kind of goes on and on and on. And I'd say just in general about the scaling of the game, the miniatures are fantastic. They're beautiful. They're great for RPGs. They're good in the board game. But all I'll say is they're more biased to the side of looks necessarily than necessarily like the best designed way to use the miniature. So for example, the Spider Queen Lady Balara, fantastic miniature, real beautiful, but her butt kind of sticks out pretty far. So if you have characters that are trying to stand behind her, it's kind of difficult to do. I'd say characters is less difficult. It's probably more the walls. So if you're using the 3D terrain, you may have to pop out a wall wherever she's sitting. And then when she moves, then you put the wall back in. So that's kind of the one downside, but they went over, kind of the looks side of it a little bit more than anything else. All right. Hi, in one of the last updates, it said that we can unlock all the 5 Kemet generals as miniatures, but I only see 4 in the stretch goals. Maybe one is already as a miniature. So so the Kemet generals, which let me get to the campaign page here real quick so we can kind of go through it. So for people that don't know, the main bad guy of the Kemet army is called Gulag, and he actually comes in fact, he's right here in the middle. This middle art right here is Gulag. To the left here, I believe, is Bralmir, and right here is Urizard. The 5 generals are like these side characters that you see here because Gulag already comes in the Ultimate Tanares Adventures box. So you're already getting that. What we do right now for people that have the game is you just proxy in a different miniature. For example, Urizard, you use the spy miniature where it's almost like something is like behind her. And she's like, stabbing somebody. It's a pretty awesome miniature. And then Bralmir is just that Kemet warrior. But the idea is we're going to make these unique miniatures, so that way they fit better within the world, because they are used multiple places in the campaigns. You'll see them in multiple quests. And so being able to have those unique miniatures, and the intent is to kind of make them a special sort of hero, where they will have attacks that you can use once you defeat them in the campaign. So I think it's a unique idea. I'll be excited to see more as we get further along and be able to show off more of that to you guys. But anyway, that's the intent of the Kemet Lords. So we've unlocked so far, because I go on tangents a lot, if you guys haven't noticed, all right? So we have Zizena, who is the berserker type of character. That is one of the Kemet Lords. Then we have Solnertha, who is a necromancer, very old necromancer lady. So that's 2 right there. Then we have Urizard, which we've already unlocked, which is number 3. She's kind of the spy of the Kemet army. And then we have Kildroli, who is the archer lord. And there is, I believe, one more that hasn't been unlocked yet. So it'll be part of stretch goals as we continue on. Now I haven't counted through the Kemet Lords recently, so I think there's one more. If anyone knows off the top of their head, correct me if I'm wrong. It's actually listed in the journal. Once you finish, you know what? We'll see it soon. I have something to show you guys as we go along. Okay, so yes, there is a banana by the desk. No particular reason why. Definitely. Hey, I would like to make a suggestion. We are finishing a long journey in this campaign. I'm sure a lot of content, miniatures, and other things were left behind. How about we have a package called the Director's Cut and the Pledge Manager with all that stuff left out? Well, that one might be hard to do, because there's a lot of things that people want, and hopefully this will kind of answer some of the questions that I see, kind of a reoccurring matter, but it's not specific to this one, but hopefully can nail it with everything. So hold on. So about rewards, and specifically add-on rewards. So there's a lot of cool ideas people have. Trust me, I have plenty of I've even had as well that I really would like to see. But obviously we can't do everything, partially because there's a lot of additional cost to creating some of these other items, because then you also have to include them in some other packaging or how you're going to include them. But specifically when it is something like an add-on and it's not something that everybody gets, it's more challenging to make all of those ideas happen, because the factory, when they print things, it's not like they just print like 2 and then they're like, okay, well, we'll just print 2. It's like, no, you have to order at least 1,000. And that's pretty standard for most manufacturing. And this isn't even just for board games. Outside of this, I'm also a software engineer, and I've done electrical engineering for a number of years. And when you're looking for piece price of things, you also have to buy a significant number, especially if you want the greatest value, right? You got to buy a lot more. And that's also the main idea behind Kickstarter, is we're going to make this cool content that people will really enjoy. And the more people we can get to get that, it'll lower the cost for everyone. And by doing that, we can unlock stretch goals, right? So that way there's more things that we can offer by passing on those savings to backers. So in general, that's kind of the idea. So add-ons, while they're super cool and I'd love to see a lot of different things, they may not all really be able to happen, just because we may not get even enough people for it. I know the standee pledge in general is probably one of the biggest risks that we've come up with recently. because, you know, we are a miniatures board game company. We've always done miniatures, at least so far up to this point. And kind of going the standee route was something new, and we wanted to try to be able to include other backers into the Tanares Adventures world, and give them the cheapest possible pledge option. So it's kind of like, why isn't there a full gameplay of everything? It's because the idea with standee necessarily isn't just to make, you know, standees for the sake of, you know, standees. Now, you know, obviously there's those advantages, right, of smaller, and not needing all the miniatures. But the intent of it primarily actually is to give you the cheapest possible price point to play the game of Tanares Adventures. We wanted people the chance to play the game, and get that. But if you want everything, you want all the cool different things in that are in the world, I'd suggest that you consider looking at the miniature items, just because that is primarily the intent of that, is to for the miniature side. But, you know, we're trying to do what we can to help with the standees. But even if you look at like the standee pledge here, it's only about like a third, 370 backers out of, just if we only talk about the essential gameplay, it's only like less than a third of the total people backing for the essential version, so, or the ultimate edition, right? So it's less. We always try to accommodate everyone that we can, but we can't do everything, right, guys? Especially when you're talking about timelines, price, and making it as simple for you guys, the manufacturer, and fulfillment. For anyone that's been following previously, you understand those challenges. Okay, let's see, cool stuff. Can you clarify how gearing up works? From my understanding, you use more than just the same 4 heroes in your campaign. So how does does gearing works to fit all these swaps? So in Tanares Adventures, it's a little different. Basically, since it is kind of a cooperative experience, you're fighting against the Kemet army and you're building up your own base. The idea is you're working together to unlock, you know, or build and craft these items. So what's going to happen is you unlock, say, you know, some new sword. The what is the name of one of the super cool, like there's a sword called Gone with the Wind, which is pretty cool. Makes people, their allies, run around and do basic attacks against enemies. Fun little item there. But anyway, you will be able to craft that item, and then one of the heroes in your you know, that you have unlocked will be able to use that. Now, if you wanted to switch your team, you can move that item to one of the other heroes in a completely different team. Now, I don't want to give away too much in the campaign, but there does come a point in the story where you are going to need 2 teams, and you're going to need them at essentially the same time, and you can't just swap items. So there is kind of going to be a little bit of that where you will have to make a choice, and that's going to be set for a specific period of time. But I will say most of the rest of the campaign, besides those sections, that you can swap them between your team. Okay, and then maybe also just to kind of quickly add for people, because this is a really commonly asked question, how do you get like the next level skills as you go on through the week? So you start at week 1, at week 2, it will tell you at the start of that, after the world phase, it will tell you in the book to move up. I think it's like gain 2 level 2 skills, and you know, like 1, and then you'll have 2 level 1 skills, and so then you'll get the tokens for those ones, and then you'll be able to use those, and that's how you'll remember as well. All right, next up, thank you for your great work and dedication to this project. Thank you. I am one of the few who buys the essential kit in the RPG campaign. If I buy the penumbral kit now, not only can I not upgrade the pack, but I spend twice as much. Is there something? Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. So what I suggest for you is, and this is kind of going into a commonly type of, thread, commonly asked question is, what if I have an item that is either bundled together or isn't available anymore? So what I highly suggest you do is you contact our customer service department. So email them at contact@dragorigames.com. And in the Pledge Manager, the customer service department has a way to be able to add items, or they should be able to add some of those items individually. So it may be possible that you could get some of essentially the leftover stock of maybe, the villain kit, scenario pack, right? Those other boxes that you didn't get. That they could add them on, and then you'd be able to purchase those separately. But we don't want to offer it to everybody because, like I mentioned earlier, that makes the fulfillment, manufacturing, everything else more complicated to do. And we're trying to keep not just that, but the Pledge Manager also simpler. I will be doing a Pledge Manager video like I have done for the previous campaigns, because inevitably it will still be confusing probably for people, and I always want to try to help with that. So if you're not familiar with my channel at all, I do news, I do lore, I do strategies, I do tournaments, we do all kinds of stuff. So when it comes to that Pledge Manager time, and if you're confused, come back here, and I will definitely be trying to help that with a video regarding it. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question of getting those. Sounds good. If standee doesn't need proxying for its included pledges, I have everything so far. Wait, let's see. Oh man, it keeps jumping around. I hate that. I have everything so far, but the standees would be faster to table for me. And thanks, James. Always appreciate your candidacy. Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks. I try to do my best, but I know I can't answer everything, and sometimes there's answers that unfortunately people are not going to like and are going to be angry about, and same time, I don't make all the decisions at Dragori Games either, so there's things that I disagree with them about as well, but I've given my opinion, or I've given the opinion of the community as best as I can. All right, how soon can we purchase individual boxes such as the Legendary Box? You can actually purchase the Legendary Box now. If you go to your pledge, go to the Manage Pledge option, and then select, I'm not sure what pledge you have right now, but you go there, you select your pledge, and then it'll go to the add-on sheet. So this is the thing that we didn't have originally, because I think Alex was struggling to figure out how to do the add-ons correctly. But now you can go in there and you can actually select the add-on you want. So since the Legendary Box is part of the campaign, you can actually go in there and select that specifically right now, and it'll go towards the stretch goals. For some reason you can't, then go to you'll be able to add it in the Pledge Manager later. If you don't have the funds right now. But like I said, it's going to be a tight window. So may not be able to, do everything that we can in terms of, trying to meet everyone's financial, responsibilities, right? Okay. Unrelated, but I unpacked and sleeved all my cards from the reset shipment. Any chance to some guidance on correctly sorting so I don't end up with old ones duplicates? So, there isn't really too many duplicates. I'd say the only thing that is duplicate items is if you got the Dragon Collection Update pack. In that pack, there is duplicates, because you're going to get cards that replace some of the old Dragon Collection cards. So there's bosses, for example, that didn't have like a picture of what miniature that they should be using. So all the new cards have that. So you're going to go in and you're going to replace all of those. So hopefully that helps. Everything else, as far as I can think right now, I don't think there's any like duplicate, like you don't need this, throw out this, type of item thing. I will say, and I wanted to get to this maybe once I got through the end of the questions, but I'm going to talk about a specific kind of card as well, which gets asked a lot. And then we'll talk about some other things. Okay. Hopefully we can mix. Are there any other details on how the new level up attack cards are going to work? Yeah, it's relatively pretty simple. Basically, there'll be level 2 skills, and it will, if you successfully hit, you'll be able to apply one of the effects of your previous primary attack effect cards. But we're trying to scale them not only in damage, but also like an additional effect. Like it'll be something specific, or something that will match to like your role as well. So like if you're a tactician controller, there may be things where you're like hurting the enemy, or you're getting more cubes, or if you're damage dealer, maybe you're moving people or damaging people more. I don't know specifically yet, but basically you're getting those like higher damage, get your effect plus another effect of something that's specific to like your class. Okay. All right. What are the Tengu Minis? Also, are the storage boxes magnetic? Okay, so first question, what are the Tengu Minis? Yeah, let's jump to the Tengu Minis here. Actually, no, let's check out the latest update, because that had even a better render picture here. Absolutely beautiful. So the Tengu Minis are going to be villains of the Silver Dragon fight. So you're specifically going to see them in that fight, and I'm sure they're going to have their own villain cards related to using them. But they are kind of inspired by some of the, East Asian type of lore, fantasy lore, and so they'll be part of that fight. So we may talk more about that if we get some time to talk about the Silver Dragon fight. But what I've been telling everyone in Discord is, if there's something specifically that you want us to talk about more, or you want to see more, the best way to do that is to put it in the Kickstarter comments, because most of the Dragori guys are looking in there on a pretty consistent basis. Obviously, we check, everything else, but obviously there's a lot more focus on the campaign right now. So they're looking there. So it's more likely you can get responses to some of the questions. I won't say everything, but some of the things, or get, like especially in updates, like when Michael's doing these overviews, he'll be more likely to do those if you do in the Kickstarter comments, or the update that specifically asks for that. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Oh, and then the storage box is magnetic. I've been asking about that over and over because I know some people are not crazy about the way that the box like lid part goes on, and I think it's probably going to be too pricey to include that. As you guys know, the storage box is a very expensive item, and I wish it was a lot cheaper, because it's not currently my preferable way of handling it either. But we're doing what we can. We'll try to improve it if possible, but I don't know if the magnetic door is going to happen. I'd like it to, honestly, but I don't think so. I'm just going to be honest with you. Okay. Will base rings be rubbery to prevent scratching painted bases? Nope, they'll be the same plastic rings as they've been previously. All right, I am on the Tengu miniatures because we keep unlocking more of the same miniature, which the mold is made to your economy of scale. Why are we not getting them all at once? Because I think, well, so we print them, yes, but like at the same time, there's only so much space in the box, right? So if we have, too many of them, then necessarily, you know, there's less space for other miniatures. So, and I don't know, they wanted to do the stretch goals this way. I don't know if I really have an answer to that. Will the components of the returning backer edition come in waves, or will fulfillment occur at once? It will all be at once. So everything right now is planned for February 2024. Is the new gameplay add-ons? Is the new gameplay add-ons planned? Are they planned? Yeah. I mean, they've already been in planning for a while now. Do you have a sample of the standee miniatures? No, I wish I did. Because yeah, that'd be awesome to show. But I don't think so. All right, will there be an option to add the 750 sleeves back in the Pledge Manager? I already own the 1,000. So I haven't gotten the official confirmation of this, because what we had talked about before was, I know there were some challenges with sleeves before. It wasn't all the sleeves. It was certain sleeves that were specifically just either a little too tight or potentially a little short. But it didn't impact everyone for some reason. So it seems like there was probably a pack, some certain amount that just was wrong. And I've asked for them to see if we could do replacements, but the cost of that is pretty high to do that, not just for printing it, but specifically shipping it out to everyone. As you guys have seen from the page, shipping is very pricey. But what they have talked about basically is they've worked with the manufacturer to get a really high discount. And so we're talking about potentially, and don't quote me on this because maybe I'll get fired, is basically the 750 and the 1,000 sleeve combined together, pretty much massive amount of sleeves for probably $20 or maybe even less than that. I don't know the final number, but basically trying to get it as absolutely as cheap as possible, especially for, you know, I know a lot of you guys returning backers that didn't, you know, get the sleeves or you missed the sleeves, for example. That happened to a lot of people as well. So we're trying to make it as absolutely as cheap as possible. And yes, the intent right now is that the sleeves will fit the storage box, like the sleeved cards. Okay. Hello, any news from V Games for European delivery? I just received Tanares box, but none of the rest all in. Why didn't you just send all the stuff in one time? So that wasn't our decision, I think, originally. So Gamerati, who is the manager of fulfillment, was the one that I think told all of the other logistics companies that if you sent the Tanares Adventures box with the other items, it was so large because it is, I think, like, how big is it? I think it's like 18 pounds or more, that if it shifts in the box, it'll crush the other boxes. So they started sending them separately. In terms of, you know, the V Games and European delivery stuff, I mean, obviously for everyone that already is aware, it's been an absolute nightmare. We will not be using V Games again, nor Gamerati, and have already been finding other providers for this. But we've been messaging them, calling them multiple times, and basically they just don't even respond. They still seem to be sending out items, because I still see items going out, you know, responses from backers, but they have continued to be extremely slow, and there's not really much that we have control over to force them to ship anything faster. So I know it's a non-exciting thing. We've said this a lot, and it's one of those things where, like, once you've said it so many times, it doesn't feel like there's really anything else I can say. Okay. Yes, the FAQ. So getting items added to the FAQ. I made some FAQ items specifically on day one, and they were supposed to be added, but they haven't been yet. So I'm hoping that they're going to add this either today or very soon after, because I've been asking for this a lot already. Ananub as a hero. Ooh, yeah, that'd be nice, huh? Is the Specter miniature also a silver dragon? It's a good question. I think it is, but I'm not positive about that. I know the Tengu were, but I wasn't sure about the Specter Ninja. I'll probably have to ask Michael about that. Is the Tengu crossover with the next upcoming Dragori's games? No, unfortunately, it's not. I mean, I think maybe one day after, you know, this campaign is finished, maybe we can talk more about that. But specifically, probably when the next one is getting close. But it's not. It's fitting for this specific campaign and this miniature. Okay, what is the silver dragon patron of? Ooh, that's a really good question. I have to ask Michael about that because I am not sure. Box looks like how Isofaren Guard is. Hopefully they will reinforce the bottom at the opening edge at least. Actually, so at Origins, I got to spend a lot of time with Sky Kingdom Games and Eric, who is the owner there. And we talked about their storage box because a lot of our box is actually modeled after the Isofaren Guard box. And he told me some of those challenges that they had. So I'm hoping that we can avoid some of those issues if possible, because I did pass on that feedback. Thanks for the response. I know you don't wield the hammer because I know Ananub would already be here. Oh, yes, he would. If I had the choice, I definitely would. Will Dragori continue to release content for Tanares or compatible with Tanares components after the Ultimate Edition? Otherwise, should fans expect a new IP instead? It's really hard to say. So I'd say in terms of where we're at right now, it's a no, but they are wanting to make this like a trilogy type of game, where for people that have gotten to the end of the book, you may have already seen some things that are kind of declared at the end, but hopefully but besides that, we're trying to look into doing some other routes. I don't necessarily want to say full-on retail, but we are trying to see what we can do. The problem with, very similar to like some of the things that we talked about, you know, earlier on in the stream, getting into retail is extremely difficult because the cost to manufacture, right? You need to print large volumes, then has to be purchased by those distributors. Then they have to be, you know, put out, you know, across their distribution network. And the cost that they want for this is very, very high. Basically to the point that like we wouldn't make pretty much any money on the game at all by doing it. And so I don't know, there's the trade-off, right, between do you get it into all the stores so that way you can kind of start building up yourself as a publisher, or do you, you know, try to hold off to make it still a valuable, you know, product to people. I will say, because, you know, the standee pledge is the intended way for us to hopefully move that direction. And I've had some ideas of maybe making some of those things that may be missing available potentially in retail, but I don't want to like get any, oh my God, it's going to be in retail. It's because I don't know. There's a very real possibility that it'll never happen. So anyway, just trying to help you guys with what I know and what I can, but can't promise everything. All right. Received my tracking notice today for delivery Tuesday, France. Huzzah! Yay! We're always excited, of course, with more people actually getting the game and actually getting to play. Are the shipping estimates just for the base? Are the shipping estimates just for the base game pledge? How much would they increase if different for all in? What were they previous as an estimate for previous waves? Well, it's really hard to compare to previous campaigns because back then, shipping, like for example, before, so Tanares RPG was like just picking up about the time that like shipping costs were going crazy, and so they went extremely high, and then they started going down, and the freight price has gone down, but the courier cost has exploded. At least that's what I was told, and so it's made things very, very pricey to ship. So we're trying to provide some of the information that we do have on it. I think they're trying to get better estimates, which is why not everything is there. So if we go down to the estimate table, we have the returning backer items. So if you're a returning backer, it should be somewhere around here, depending on if you're the kit or the bundle, but I don't know, exactly. And then Tanares Ultimate is the $189 price. So if you get an all-in pledge, it's going to be more. I'm just going to be truthful. It's going to be more expensive because it's a lot more items to ship, right? There's more logistics part of it. There's more things to actually send you. It's heavier, right? So it's going to end up costing, unfortunately, more by the end. But hopefully we can get more of these either pledge bundles or some other costs written here before the end of the campaign. It is another item that I have actually asked multiple times for as well. Okay, is there any plan for another PvP tournament? Yes, there is actually. So, originally I was thinking after Gen Con, but due to the timing of this campaign, how tight everything is, and the pledge manager, I'm pretty sure we're gonna start the tournament probably after the pledge manager closes, just so that way I can keep the channel focused on, helping people as much as possible and not just throwing them PvP videos that they don't care about right now. So it will probably be right after that we'll get that tournament started. So I may put up an early interest form to see, how many people are interested, right? For people that aren't aware, we've done PvP tournaments in the past. Trust me, this is very high level play, and there's a lot of really awesome matches. If you go back in my channel, you can see tournament 1 and 2, and I try to make it sort of like a sports show where you're commenting on what's going on, talking about strategies, what that person might be doing, and then at the same time we're also kind of like judging in case they need to fix something. But it is primarily up to the players to play the rules correctly, but we help as much as we can, especially before. So don't be super overwhelmed thinking that there's no way you can do this, because we have a lot of new people that join, and there's only a smaller group of people that are more into the PvP. So even if you're not, there's still a very good chance you could get pretty far in the campaign. It's tons of fun. We try to include the entire world and all time zones. We just have to be flexible. So it could take us, maybe a month and a half or 2 to complete the entire campaign, just depending on, how many people we have and then what areas that they're in. But it is an absolute blast. All right. When do you guys negotiate shipping rates? If you did this in 2nd to 4th 22, are you still using these old rates? You must renegotiate. Rates dropped a lot during the end of it. I believe they've been negotiating in 2023 more recently, in the last 2-3 months or so. So it should be more recent. I believe it's after everyone received their pledges. All right, Asia. So more shipping stuff. I received tracking mail from V Games today for the rest of my pledge, which I got 9 days ago. Yes, that's been happening a lot. They should be sending it before, but of course they are not, and I have nothing more to say on this. Hopefully this is a focus area to reduce the high shipping costs of all these boxes. Any discussion that it could be a 3rd super box for Dragons and Madness box? I know, I've asked about it before, But as you can tell already, the cost for a third box is already much more expensive. And like I mentioned way earlier on, the intent is to use the miniatures specifically that you're going to use to play. So getting a third box is just another box to hold your items that were just in one other box, basically. So we have some of the bigger miniatures, and then basically the Madness box and the Dragon Collection box. I think that's basically it. So and those boxes are so big that you need a massive box just even for the third one. But all right, let's see. On retail, have you proposed to sell your website to test waters on the game's popularity? That is something that we've, I think, talked about some. I don't know about necessarily maybe like making it available on like the store instantly to purchase, but it could be like a pre-order type thing where maybe we could do like if we have 1,000 people that were interested at some point in the future, we can make a print run and send those out. But you have to get people to go to your website to do that, right? So for guys that are bigger in the industry, that's much easier for them to do. Dragori Games is a very small company, so it's probably unlikely that a lot of people will get a lot of traffic going to our store, and we'd have probably a more likely chance of getting a better response from working with some other retailers that are already established. All right, there are characters that move targets whose basic attacks are more powerful than the special ones, like the Mentalist. Even with the new cards that you drew, this remains the same. Does this unbalance the game, or did you take that into account with bosses? Sorry. Basically more powerful than their special ones. Oh, are you talking about Ellerines? So Ellerines, I think you might be referring to like maybe it's like Puppet Dance or something, where there's some cards where she does either 0 hit damage or less. But the thing is, those effects that she provides are actually way more powerful than hit damage. So, like, she can use another character's attack, so she could use a shooter to attack somebody and get to apply their effect. So, in the end, that's actually more powerful than even the and she gets her own passive. So, it's actually more powerful than just doing it on her own. Hopefully, I'm not sure if that's really answering your question or not. It's a little hard to tell what you were asking on that. Stretch goals come with miniature and standee, right? Is this true with Silver Dragon as well? So let's see. So standee pledge, if you are getting any of the new miniatures and stuff that have been offered, they will be a standee. Because we know standee people wanted standees, so we're providing that to them instead of doing a mix of miniatures and standees. If you are somebody that is backing, maybe like the Ultimate Pledge, then you would get the miniatures and not the standee. And I believe that would come in a special, maybe like stretch goal box or something. There'll be more information on like how we're doing the stretch goal box and stuff, I think, this week. So kind of just keep an eye out on that. All right. Thank you so much for the Q&A and answering some of my questions. Great work. Great campaign. Thank you, Thorsten. Hopefully I was able to help you. Which is your favorite hero and why? Favorite enemy and why? NPC I should look forward to interacting with. That's tough. I love so many characters. I will say, for anyone that's followed my channel previously, you probably know that Renkir is one of my favorite heroes in the game, the Dragon Avenger, because he's got amazing abilities. He's got resurrection. He's got high damage. He has ways to tank. Basically, he kind of is an all-in-one package, and his miniature is absolutely sick. I do have... Let's see if you guys can see it. I do have a Hero Pack 2. And hopefully... You can see he's actually right over here. And I am going the wrong way. There we go. That is rank here. So, that is what his miniature looks like. It is pretty awesome. Alright, it's probably best to hold off until retail till the trilogy is complete and make an entire retail version. We'll see. The problem is, right, already the game is so massive that really it's like it may be more likely that we want to cut down on things instead of make it bigger, because the cost is already very prohibitive as it is. And not a lot of people want to just, show up to a board game store and throw down $200. So it's probably more likely that it would be, less campaign contents or contents in a box than bigger. I'd love to find some more posts on your social accounts. Yes, I'm honestly probably one of the worst social media people out there, because I'll take. You should, if you guys saw my phone, I have like all these pictures that I'll take, but then I like forget to post them, or then I just don't post them because I don't like something about it, and then it just never gets added. And the other thing is, like, for example, like with Twitter, they specifically asked me to add Twitter even though I had no interest in using Twitter. And same thing with Instagram. Primarily, as you guys have seen, I've just do YouTube, and I will put, I'd say the most active area is Discord and my YouTube community page, where I'll post pictures or something that's coming up sometimes. But primarily it's probably through Discord. I have a channel in our server, specifically Fangslo6 channel, and I'll post pictures or other things there, like I did for some of the Origins content. All right. What was your favorite enemy and why as well? NPC, let's just say Ananub, because he is so cool. Favorite enemy. So there's, I was going to do this in another video because I don't actually have it here to show to you guys. But something a lot of people don't realize is the villains have levels to their cards, right? So they'll start at level 1, level 2, and then level 3 through the normal campaign, and then there's a 4 in the Time Twist campaign. But what people don't maybe realize is that as those villains level up, their art changes. So the Reaper miniatures start off very ordinary, and then in the second one, they're actually kind of cooler, and then by the third one, it's freaking badass artwork. And I wish I could show it here. I don't have something open right now to show it, but it is so freaking cool. And it's, I think, something that we never really mentioned before, but it's just something that you'll only notice once you start playing and you look at the different cards, and then you're like, holy crap, those are awesome. So the Reaper level 3 art is one of my favorites right now. What else? Anything else? Thank you for your looking forward to playing Tanares. We are too. It's a fantastic game. I hope many more people will give it a shot and try. He lied. His favorite is Ananov. Thanks for your hard work. Looking forward. Yeah, okay. Oh, you like Rankir Varant? The Mastermind looks nice. Yes, he is a very popular hero by a bunch of people too. And I think he might actually be in the standee pledge. I'm not sure if they've set the heroes yet or not, but I think he might be in that one. Is there going to be another giant boss like Gold Dragon, Trask, or Elder Dragon, and maybe to be used in Boss versus Boss 2? I think maybe the Silver Dragon. Will there be like another big one? We had discussed it before, but the problem is kind of like what I mentioned beginning with, right? Is it's more things, it takes up more space. It's possible. I don't think it's likely right now. They did have a really cool idea for Okay, fine. I'll just say it because you guys are watching. They were talking about a penumbral phoenix at one point that sounded badass, but they decided to go with some more miniatures instead of just like one massive miniature. So I don't think that's going to happen, at least for now. But who knows? Maybe, you know, Tanares 3 or whatever. Maybe do that. Weird attack looks cool. I'm doing weird stuff. What does that's the kind of small Easter eggs that show the commitment, care to detail. I mean, art. Can we expect similar testing to the storage solution versus the mini trays and sorted sleeve cards? Well, let's see. So I would say enemy art level to the storage solution. Yeah, I mean we're trying to. So for example, like the boxes, and maybe it is. Oh look, I'm actually on the page with the boxes right now. And this doesn't. Well, it kind of shows it. So you see like the front down here on the page. You can see where the placement is, so that way it'll be a lot easier to put everything back. The idea is to make this as simple as possible. One of the issues, right, we've had previously is you have to use a separate document to then go look, which you can do. It's not bad. It's just, it's probably preferable if it's on the box. That's what I suggested to them, that it is definitely included. Okay, will it be possible? Oh, and then in terms of sleeves, yes. I mean, the sleeves was kind of a mess, and Clayton is the one that handles most of the components, and I have bothered him extensively about the sleeves and how the sleeves have to fit this. So I think this time there's gonna be no way that it's not gonna fit, and that we're gonna get the sleeves we actually got instead of or that we wanted, instead of them changing the sleeves on us without even saying anything. Because that's basically what happened before. Will it be possible to have a bundled Ultimate Tanares plus Dragon Collection plus Madness box? Maybe we'll hit more than Super Box. I don't think so, partially because the more pledges we have, the more confusing it gets in the campaign. So if you want Ultimate Tanares and Dragon Collection and Madness box, then you can add those items to your order in the add-on menu there of Kickstarter, and you can get those. But I don't think we're going to add like a different bundled type thing. I will say though that they have announced previously, if you are a returning backer and you buy some of the items like the Madness box, Dragon Collection, Penumbral pack, and I think there's one more that I'm forgetting right now, that you can get like a $10 discount. Oh, Legendary box on those items if you're a returning backer. Okay. Penumbral Phoenix. Phoenix has been playing too much Final Fantasy. Probably. I'm filling a Heroes pack box without the tray with just hero abilities, and that's prior to sleeving. Yes, because the sleeves, so they changed the sleeve size, basically, is what's happened. So in the last campaign, they told us that they were going to be the original size that a lot of people from the first campaign, Arena of the Contest, and Tanares First Wave received, which were very thin sleeves, which was fine. But then they changed the sleeves on us and didn't say anything. And so that's why you're getting much thicker, which, maybe some people, maybe it's higher quality. I don't know. It's probably personal opinion, really. But they're thicker sleeves now. And because of that change, now a lot of the cards didn't fit the boxes. And that was not the intent, because we had always intended for them to fit the boxes. But the manufacturer didn't say anything. And this is why I mentioned earlier on the stream of maybe being able to get a super discount on the sleeves, because we talked to the manufacturer about this major mess up that they did, and being able to get significantly reduced costs on the sleeves. Okay. Will there be more space allocated in the storage to accommodate? Yes. Any other crossover plans? Well, I mean, nothing's set yet that I know of right now, but there's specifically one publisher that, if you guys have heard me talk about them before, I've specifically really want one of their characters in our game. But that publisher's, I think, CEO hasn't been responding to some of our messages, and he was supposed to have like a meeting with us, I think, a while back, and he didn't respond. So I don't know if it's really going to happen, but I really want it to. These small add-ons like Hero Pack will be available on the Pledge Manager, or the only way to get them will be getting the Legendary Pack and Penumbral Box. It's a good question. I think they may still be available. I'm not sure about that right now. If they are not available in the Pledge Manager, I'd suggest contacting our customer service, so contact@dragorigames.com, and asking if you can get one of the Hero Pack 1 or 2 added. But I'm not sure if it'll be individually added. There's certain items that we're trying not to specifically add unless someone needs it. Like, for example, okay. So I brought it here just in case people had questions. So we got our legendary box here. Okay. Right. And this is all the fun stuff that comes with it. Walls, some giant bosses, a whole bunch of villains, and then a bunch of heroes. But you'll see that, like, the heroes down here, it says coming in Hero Pack 2 on the bottom. So previously, and we did this because at the time, these were reworked heroes from what came in Arena of the Contest. So these are much improved miniatures than what existed in the first game. And since we had a lot of returning backers that were going to get that, but they already essentially had the content of the legendary box. It was called the Imperial box at the time. That since you had those, you didn't need everything. You just wanted the reworked miniatures, so they came in a separate box. So that was the idea, was if you bought the new legendary box, you'd get the Hero Pack 2. And then if you're just a returning backer, you just get the Hero Pack 2. And you could purchase the legendary storage box if you wanted, but you didn't need to do that. But anyway, now the new legendary box is just going to have those miniatures already in there. So we're, because we're kind of moved past that point, right, of being, everyone already kind of has those reworked miniatures and not the old ones. So it's kind of moving that direction. So I don't know for sure in regards to your answer there. All right. Exactly. They're too big and having a lot of troubles to fit every card in the box. Is there any Tanares gameplay content left out of the $4.89 Super Box Pledge? Are the Madness and Dragon collection boxes only miniatures and PvP content? Okay, so let's look at the Super Box Pledge real quick. All right. Try to get this answered as easily as possible. All right, so the Super Box Pledge includes the Ultimate Tanares box, the Legendary box, the Penumbral pack. So Legendary box, which I just showed you guys, has mostly miniatures, more heroes, and then so the villain miniatures, the bigger miniatures, and then 3D terrain. So walls, doors, switches, and I think that's it. There's different sizes of walls, so there's actually quite a few walls in there. And then the Penumbral pack is the one that includes a whole bunch of more heroes from all the previous, Tanares RPG boxes, pack boxes. And then it includes, right, like the Scenario pack, which was more terrain, like some of the banners, the portals, the barricades, so some of those new things that got added so you could have 3D miniatures, and The Time Twist campaign is in there, which is, I believe, 7 quests. So that is all in that box. And this is something a lot of people don't know about the Penumbral Pack. It actually also includes some 2 other PvP modes. I wanted to do a video, hopefully I still can before the end of the campaign, to show off what those PvP modes are, because some people just don't even know that they exist. But I know most of the focus right now is just the campaign and not necessarily PvP content. Anyway, so that is what is in there. In terms of the items that aren't in there, if we go to the all-in, it doesn't have, right, Dragon Collection, Madness Box, Gold Dragon, Penumbral Trask. So Gold Dragon comes with, you know, miniature, and then the cards for boss versus boss. But you can proxy in a miniature for the Gold Dragon. Penumbral Trask is just the Penumbral Trask miniature. The card is already included in the Dragon Collection box, which is slightly different than what it was previously. And then the Madness box is just miniatures. All the content is included in all the books. So, you know, like the Ultimate version will have all of that. And then the Dragon Collection is all the miniatures, all of the boss versus boss content. A hero, the Dragon Queen, who currently is only used in PvP. And but I will say this. So there is quests in the Tanares Adventures campaign that use the components of the Dragon Collection. So if you want to essentially do like these dragon quests, then you would need to have those components to fully play those, because it uses the boss versus boss components to play that. So the idea was this was including some campaign content there. But I'll say it is only like 6 quests. And, you know, I don't want to talk bad about our content, but I'll just say that like each week you will have probably like, it varies from time to time, but you'll have like 3 to 5, maybe even like 6 adventure options. And so maybe one of those would be like a Dragon Collection quest. And you could just skip it and still have a ton of other options. So kind of depends on how much you're going to play, right? I mean, you can kind of keep playing it. I'll just say personally from my experience so far, and they were going to improve some of the story elements of the Dragon Collection quests, but the quests were not my favorite ones. So some of the other quests could be better. So if you don't have it, I don't think it'd be the end of the world. But if you absolutely must have every single thing, then technically, yeah, you'd need the Dragon Collection box, but you don't necessarily need the Madness box unless you want the miniatures. But otherwise, gameplay is already included in the core box. I hope that answers your question. Maybe a courageous volunteer on BGG would create a file for card dividers that would work with some commonly available box. Yeah, that's very possible. Hey, there's a banana scale. Whoa, that's weird. How'd that get there? Yes, PvP exclusive currently. I have already been asking for her to please be included in the Tanares Adventures campaign as well. We'll see. Okay. Let's just jump to one other thing I wanted to show you guys here. And then I think we'll be getting pretty close to wrapping up. All right, awesome. All right, for anyone that's not aware yet, you haven't seen my channel before, we do a lot in Tabletop Simulator. In fact, the Tabletop Simulator mod that we have for the game is basically what really kind of kicked off the entire community, I'd say, or a big chunk of the community for us and the Discord. So we have this huge mod. It has most of the modes. I will say that it doesn't have all of the Tanares Adventures content yet. It probably will. We're aiming right now for after the Pledge Manager to have all of it, but it does have the demo right now. So hopefully, if you are uncertain about the game, you wanted to maybe try it out before you fully commit to it, I think this is a great option. If you don't have Tabletop Simulator, it is a pretty small purchase. I think many times it goes, in fact, Steam sale is running right now. It's probably $20 or maybe even less. It's very cheap, and you can play a ton of different board games. It takes a little bit of learning to get used to like how to use it, but this is how we play our tournaments. So if you are interested in playing PvP with us, you'll definitely need Tabletop Simulator because obviously we're a small community, and this is the only way that we can get to play with everyone. So we have a ton of different heroes, but these are some 4 suggested heroes that I have already set up. So Sir Eric, Qatar, Nynx, and Katarina. These are ones I've been using in the demo just to kind of show off the game. This is the second tutorial quest, and I have replaced the villains that are, there's a Specter miniature, the blue one, and the orange one with Reapers. It's pretty simple. Just find, 15, 17, 16, and they're in the bag up here in the villain cards. You'll be able to pull those out and replace those, and this is probably a great way to test the game and just slowly learn the mechanics. The ones that are here currently already kind of expect that you know some more of the combat before you get there because there's a first tutorial quest. But I've been doing this for demos and it's been running pretty well. But it'll give you a good feel of the game real quick. So let's just do a couple things. One was, there's a question earlier about special types of cards and redundant things. So you'll see here at the top left of this card is a card that has TA written at the top. That means that it is a Tanares Adventures card. So this is an original Arena of the Contest character that had a different card called Soul Link that was more PvP focused, and it didn't really work very well in Tanares Adventures. So they made a Tanares Adventures equivalent version. So if you're playing the campaign, you need to use these cards and not the other ones. What I suggest you do is, especially if you have the sleeves, sleeve the version you're not using in the back of the sleeve and keep whatever you want in the front. That's what I did when I've been doing demos, and it makes it real easy, so that way I'm not looking for the cards way later going, oh, I can't find it. It's in the same sleeve. So I think that's a great way to do it. All right, so anyway, this is the Tanares Adventures demo. You'd select the demo from the main page once you get there. I'm not going to click it, otherwise it'll reset everything, but you do that. Select a hero that you want to play. Like I said here earlier, I suggest Sir Eric the Paladin, Qatar the Barbarian, Nynx the Succubus of Greed, and Katarina the Witch. And you will get their hero card, which are currently all up here. They're called, he's called them character cards. This is developed by Wantuan, who is a community member and has done a great job of making this for everyone. But anyway, so you're going to grab the hero card, you're going to grab the skill pad, and all the skill pads are down here at the bottom left. There is all the skill tokens and mana cubes, and then the health tracker. So just copy all of that, bring it up here near the board. And I think the boards are, I think as long as you press, so there's one here, quest 1, and then know your enemy. And if you press place, then it'll place all of this on the board for you, except for the villains. So you have to add the villains. So anyway, add the hero card, the skill pads, put your skills on the slots that you want. So just like when you play the normal game, you get to choose which 4 of the skill tokens you want to place and which one you'll use for that quest. Then you have your 4 unique hero cards, so 2 primaries and 2 special attack cards. And then you will get 2 generic class generic cards. So this is the level 0 tank cards. All of those are down here under the roll attack cards. So just pick those for whatever class that you're playing. Then grab the starting items. So it's always going to be basically the same for melee characters and then the same for range characters. So you get longsword, chainmail for these guys, and then short bow and leather jacket for the range characters. Place your miniatures and tokens. Basically, you're good to go. So what I wanted to show is just real quick, 1 hero turn and then 1 villain retaliation for people that aren't familiar with the game. Okay? So we're gonna say, and just for funsies, let's give everyone a mana cube for this, just so that way we can show some of the skill pad at the same time. So Qatar here, he can do 2 things on his turn, just like every other hero. So heroes will go first, and you can choose any order for who's going to go. So he gets to do a movement action, which is up to his movement stat here, which is up at the top of the card. So he has a movement of up to 6 squares, orthogonal or diagonal, what you can do. And then you will just take that movement. So Qatar will do 1, 2. He will then be able to do a prime action. So most of the time in a prime action, you're going to do an attack. All the silver attacks here at the top are primaries. You'll be able to do them multiple times, but once you use it, you flip the card over and you can't use it until it gets to flip back. It flips back once all of these silver cards have flipped over on the next turn. Gold cards get to be used only once per quest. So once you use them, then that's it. They're gone. All right. Let's see. I was just looking at questions. There's a link to see all the hero cards in Tabletop Simulator mod. Basically, you can see all the hero cards. Are the monster cards for monsters whose miniatures you get from the Penumbral Present and the Ultimate? No, they are not. Tanares up to good or printed? Yes. Okay. It looks from the TTS view, it looks overwhelming. What exactly do you need to have on the table for a 2 to 4 player game? So you're always going to use 4 heroes. Now, I will say it's overwhelming because this is what it looks like when you have 4 full heroes. If you are concerned with that, we do have comrade cards. So let's say you're playing with only 2 people. You will pick a hero. So let's pretend that we're going to use Qatar and Sir Eric as our heroes, and then we're going to use Katarina and Nynx as our comrades. So comrades is a way to simplify this. So I'll just grab one of them because I don't want to have to well, I can probably do both. But basically what a comrade will look like instead is pretty much this. And I also have a Learn to Play that kind of talks about this as well. But this is primarily the essence of a comrade. You have a hero card. You have a comrade card, and it's the level that you are in the game. So at the beginning, it's level 1. And then you have 2 special attacks. And then you have your mana cubes. And that's pretty much it. So all you have to manage is just this, which is this single attack, or using a special attack, and then placing cubes like you will for these other ones. But let's finish this. Like I said, comrade cards. If you want to learn more about comrades, check out my Learn to Play because I do talk about that more. Okay, so we're going to play. Qatar is going to go first. He is going to do his, let's just do something simple. He's going to do perfect blow, which gives him a benefit of +3 to his attack roll, which means he just adds 3 to whatever that value is. And he is attacking this orange villain here. So if you look at on the left of his card here, he has his stats. His defense is a 5. So we take a d20. We roll to attack. 11. 11 plus 3 is a 14. And that does meet or beat his defense. So as long as it was a 5 or more, then it's a hit. You then apply the hit damage. So in this case, it's going to be 11 damage to the orange villain. And then you would do his passive. So deal +4 damage and move 1 the target. So he'll do 4 more damage. And then he gets to move the target 1. And then you would do an effect. If Qatar had an effect with this card, he doesn't, but it could be things like, for example, you may move the target up to 2 squares and then make him exposed, which basically means his defense is lowered by 3. So then we finish the attack. We flip over the card. Qatar has moved. He can also choose to use his longsword here to do 5 more damage if he wants, but he doesn't have to. And let's just look at real quickly what we could do with our skill pad. So there's 2 sides here. You can do things on an ally's turn or a villain turn. If it is the ally's turn, like it is right now, technically it's Qatar's turn. Sir Eric or Nynx or Katarina can do something. Qatar cannot, because he cannot be an ally of himself. So, for example, let's say Sir Eric wants to spend one of his cubes. He will charge the skill token. That means just flip it over. And it says move to a villain, and you move 2. So he will move this one here. And he doesn't have to do the full 2. He can just do 1 if he wants. And then entering that terrain, he takes 4 damage. And then Sir Eric will go 1, 2 over here. Okay. And once all of these get flipped over, so this is on the ally turn, we'll get to do some stuff on the villain turn here. We'll be able, once all of these are flipped like this, you then get to do a total charge, which is uncharge your 4 tokens, which means flip it all back like this, and then you heal 9. So our tank here, Sir Eric, he gets to heal himself. The brute deals 9 damage to a villain. The healer heals 9 to an ally, and then the controller will give 2 cubes to an ally. All right, so we keep that flipped like that. All right, and I think that's all we want to do for this turn. Now it is the villain's turn. How does the villain work? We look at the card here. At the top right of the card is the villain AI, or his favorite target. So he is going to try to go after the lowest hit point hero, and he will then try to take the shortest path. And then if the paths are equal, he will then try to avoid damage if he can. So the lowest hit point hero is Katarina or Nynx. They're actually of equal distance to him, so we can choose which one that we want him to attack. But to get there, he has to walk past our barbarian first. So let's say he's going to go after Nynx. So he's about to start moving, and I guess I should go back to the skill pad right here. So there's things that we can do on this villain turn, like I said before. So we can spend mana cubes if we want. Let's do Nynx is going to, since she's going to be attacked, and it's going to be before the roll, she will spend that, and she will be protected 3, which raises her defense from 7 to 10. So it raises it by 3. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. As soon as the villain has left this square, he triggers a reaction attack from Qatar. Reaction attack, kind of like opportunity attack from D&D, if you're familiar with that. And he will take the base or the reaction attack stat damage, which is 8. And so this villain will take 8 damage here, going down to 8. And we only get one of those once per turn. So we can't get Sir Eric and Qatar to do it, just one here. All right, so he's going to go there. And then, let's see, is there anything else we want to do? We can also make the roll cursed, which means it's disadvantage. So roll twice, pick the worst result. So he's rolling 13. That would be a hit, even with protected. And then the other one is a 10. And that's still a hit because it's a meet or beat, and her defense was at 10. So he will then get to apply his hit damage, 15 damage to Nynx. So he hits for quite hard here. Then the target loses 1 mana cube from its pool, but it doesn't have any. And you would already have applied a passive if that existed. But this one doesn't. He is now fatigued. That means this villain will not take another turn for the rest of the round. If we attack him again, he will not retaliate. So that's what happened originally. Qatar attacked this unfatigued villain, and that villain retaliated. Now he is fatigued. He cannot retaliate anymore. And then we would continue on the round. So then Sir Eric would go, Nynx would go, Katarina would go. And if they continue to attack orange, he's not doing anything. If they attack blue, they would get to retaliate before. So if Sir Eric went after blue, for example, then he would get to retaliate. If you do not attack all of these unfatigued villains before the end of the round, so let's say everyone just goes ham on orange and then blue and leaves red alone, red will get to attack unprovoked at the end of the round, which means he gets an automatic critical hit if he does hit. So he will get 5 additional damage if he does hit. So it's kind of a balance. You're trying to balance. Do I spread my damage, try to make everyone retaliate and unprovoked, or do we just try to take down one that's lower as quickly as possible? This game is very puzzle-esque in the way that it works. So you're going to try to figure out between that, what skills you're using, what attacks you're using, what passives, because each passive does something different. So Katarina, a target is in 4 of her on the first hit of her turn. She will gain a mana cube. Nynx will do an ally that if there's an ally within 3 of her on the first hit of her turn. So that means she has to do an attack and she has to hit. And the first hit is the one that it would apply to. So in this case, she would get to deal 5 additional damage to that person. And then we did Qatar's already. Sir Eric's the only different one where it's actually on an enemy's turn. So an enemy has to start its turn adjacent to him and then declare an attack. And if it is, if it attacks him, he's shielded 4. If it attacks an ally, you get to heal that ally for 4. So anyway, I thought I'd just do real quick. I know it's definitely not the same as like doing like a full demo. But I just wanted to kind of quickly go over that for people that just didn't even understand what was going on in the campaign. All right, so let's look over some final questions, and then I think we'll be closing out the stream here. So, sad that the hero's improved ending is only added. So just to actually, Gerben Werda, actually that was a mistake. So the improved endings are included in all the physical pledges. What physical pledges means is any of the pledge that's not a $5 access to the pledge manager pledge, because there's not actually anything included in that. So you have to actually buy something to, get it. But it is included. That was a mistake, and we're working to fix that, which I think, Michael and I have been commenting in the comments about already. So just to clarify what you said, the Madness box doesn't have non-PvP specific components, or are you saying another version of the PvE characters exists in the Ultimate box? So the Madness box just has miniatures. So it has a whole bunch of miniatures in it that you will use in the campaign. You don't necessarily need to have the miniatures unless unless you have to have different miniatures, right? Like you want the different miniatures, right? Like you can proxy in those ones if you don't have it. I hopefully that, so it doesn't have PvP components, if that's what you're asking. Speaking about including campaign hero, can there be endings for banned heroes like Sidura or the Faceless Emperor? It's a good question. I think the reason that there isn't for those ones specifically is because they already have a story that's discussed in the book. So I think the idea is that they're kind of already there. But I'll check on that later. All right, need to run. Thanks for thank you, Code, for coming. Thanks so much. That's a very detailed explanation. Perfect answer to my question. Are the physical cards marked like that? Yes. Everything that you see here is exactly what the game looks like in real life too. Well, except obviously these are 3D scanned versions here. But this is our closest attempt of making that. And obviously this is not a standee. This is a physical miniature. So you get an actual, like, 3 little barrels as a miniature, not a standee. But otherwise, yes, it's pretty close to what their actual thing is. Right. Oh, good idea. For Soul Link, only a few revise all in. Yeah, there's only a few. It's on page 75 of the rulebook that you can see all the ones that are replaced. Is there a link to see all the hero cards? There is not a link. You can only see them in Tabletop Simulator currently. Are monster cards for monsters whose miniatures you get from the Penumbral present on the Ultimate Edition, for example? I feel like I answered that one. They're all in the Penumbral pack. Tanares update cards are printed in Tanares. Yep. From the TTS view, it looks overwhelming. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Looks like a lot more stuff. In the super box, will be the miniatures going to be form fitted or have some room? I find with the Penumbral pack, a few that my miniatures are impossible to fit. Yeah, I was not happy with that box either. Specifically, my Bralmir, who is the male Madwalker here. His dagger that you see on this miniature that's not super amazing scanned, but it's kind of like pushing into the side of the thing, so it fits. It's just tight. But yeah, they are going to be improving the insert for the storage solution and the new Penumbral pack box. The retaliation system makes me think of Arcadia Quest NPC, but angrier. Yeah, I love Arcadia Quest. That was like one of my first like dungeon crawler games. I actually got into the whole pretty much dungeon crawler side of the hobby doing. All right, can I be a moderator? Do you really want to be a moderator? Because honestly, it's one of those things that it may seem glorious, but it's not as glorious as you think it is. I'm sure you could ask some of the people who are in here. But I mean, if you really want to, maybe usually pretty much how I go for the moderators, especially on Discord, is and I'm assuming you're talking about Discord. I don't know, maybe you're talking about YouTube. But in Discord, I just try to find people that are active in the comments, that have been helping out a lot, that try to support wherever they can, in the community, because there's a lot of questions that I can't get to every single question that's out there, or be awake at all times of the day. And so I try to split it up. So that's why we have multiple people that are like in the European time zone, and then we have people that are in the North American time zone. And we used to have somebody that was like in the Asian time zone, but then he wasn't really following with the community anymore. But I mean, maybe if you're interested, you can message me in Discord about it. Okay, is there any last questions you guys have? I think I'm at the bottom of this page. Yeah. Timeline for Foreteller. I wanted to have the timeline already ready. I guess, thank you for bringing it up, DVC Bear, because next week, so my intent with this stream, and not just with this stream, but through this campaign, is to do like a reoccurring question and answer thing for you guys, right? So we can keep talking about the game, keep kind of trying to help answer questions as they come up, and to show you more of the game too. So part of that, next week, July 9th, I believe, I will have Adam from Foreteller Games, and he will be here talking about talking about Foreteller and the Tanares Adventures sound and music. We'll be showing how, like, what Foreteller is for people that just aren't even aware at all, what it sounds like. We'll have some audio clips, although I will say they're not final because we did make some changes to the books, so it's not the final audio pieces. But one thing that, clarifies, I see a lot of people say, well, it's just, like an audiobook narration. Well, no, it's not. It's professional voice actors that do voices for, the books. There's also music. There's also sound effects for it. And you're using an app that will help do a lot of the things that the book may tell you, like where it tells you to, jump to a different section of the book. It's going to be able to move you to that section of the audio without needing to, be flipping through books. So it's intended to be much more helpful than just being immersed in it. But I'm going to let Adam talk way more about it than what I'm going to do. I will say, if you guys listen to the audio that I had at the beginning of this stream, and if you missed it, you can always go back after this video is over and listen to it yourself. That is one of the samples of the music that was created for Tanares Adventures Ultimate. So I won't get in too much, but basically we've created a lot of different music tracks for different parts of the world, and I'm super excited to have you guys listen to that and give your feedback, because I'm pretty excited by a lot of the stuff that Adam's come up with, and all the guys at Foreteller. Okay, well, anyway, that is it for today. Oh yeah, and then in terms of the timeline, we'll probably kind of talk about that the next one. When the next Netflix narration? Good question. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, you have a great rest of your day or night or morning or whatever time it is for you. And we will see you back here next week. It will probably be pretty close to about the same time. If not, of course, I'll have that up. But thanks for watching. Really appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All that really helps my channel, helps other people. So when these questions come up and people don't know the answer to, you can kind of guide them over here, and they can find that as well. Anyway, that is it for today.